The inaugural Texas Winston Cup race, everybody's complaining about the racetrack, and it winds up biting you pretty hard in practice. What
Yeah.
is your earliest memory after the accident?
It was brutal. Talladega, I described to you, and everybody watches Talladega to this day because it's on YouTube, and they say, how did he survive? And the fact of the matter is, I wouldn't want to do it again, but I would let that happen to 2 or 3 times before I ever experienced anything like Texas. And here's why. And by the way, I don't think there's any footage of Texas, but I was the fastest car early in practice. And I remember being wide open through 1 and 2, but I had to lift in 3 and 4. And somebody jumped to the top, and I think it was Ricky Rudd, and Andy Graves was my crew chief. And I was, we had a reasonable start to the 97 season, but I said, tape it up. And it was really too early for that. That's the only part of this that I can be subjective toward and say I made a mistake, or I really shouldn't have done that, because the part where it was too early to be making a qualifying run. And I do remember going through 1 and 2 wide open, and I narrowly got off turn 2 without scraping the wall, so I was loose. Okay, and I'm going down the backstretch, and I was like, I got to make a little wider entry into the corner. And I don't remember anything after that except, and sometimes this is weird. It's not, I don't think it's PTSD but I've had dreams since. I wake up because I hear this repetitive sound, and I just wake up because I have this repetitive sound and go, and I believe what it is that on the way to Parkland Hospital, they flew me from the racetrack, right from the front stretch to Parkland Hospital in Dallas-Fort Worth. I woke up, or I became conscious, in the helicopter. And I have this memory of hearing the prop, the helicopter.
Wow.
And then it was just like a dream, maybe more of a nightmare. I had to sign my next of kin because I had no family with me. My vision was completely blurred, so I couldn't see anything. I had blood coming from my ear, which, by the grace of God, it wasn't a basal skull fracture, but I had a pretty bad concussion. But I had a cut inside my ear, probably from the impact and the ear mold, and I was beaten up. I had a fractured scapula, but that I have to say that really, really disrupted my career. There was a period of about 3 or 4 weeks where I just really didn't care if I ever drove again, because I was in so much pain and my head hurt so bad, even after I was released from the hospital. So there was a certain immunity that existed before that wreck that no longer existed.
Wow.
In other words, I never ever thought about getting hurt in a race car, probably before my Talladega wreck. And then after my Talladega wreck, it's sort of a warped way of thinking, but this, I think, is how a driver has to think. After my Talladega wreck, because it was so spectacular, it looked like it was so spectacular, my confidence actually almost increased from that, at least in terms of my invincibility, because I said, well, hell, if I can survive that, I can survive anything. And what I didn't realize is that I hadn't survived the worst. The reason Texas hurt so bad, or the reason it was so detrimental to me, is that I hit concrete at 180 miles an hour, and that abrupt stop, it took a little bit of my life. There's a part of it I don't remember, but I also feel like, very candidly, that I was never as fast after that as I was before. You know, I felt like there was, you know, if I go back to 1991, from 1991 to that point in 97, there were times where I had brilliant speed and, you know, just seat of the pants speed. After the Texas wreck, I felt like I had to be a much more calculated driver. And I didn't compete with that blatant disregard that I think you have to be an incredible or an outstanding driver. I don't know if I ever would have been an outstanding Cup driver, but I can truthfully say that I didn't feel like I was an outstanding Cup driver after the 97 season.